Hey everyone, Rheyo here and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be going over a basic ranged DPS guide to help you build your ranged rotation. I've done a melee version of this video, so if you'd like to check that out, I will provide the link to that in the card in the top right corner of this video as well as in the video description. If you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment down below letting me know if you have any pointers, tips, or even corrections to the rotation that I do. I'm still learning myself, and the target audience of this video is people who are learning as well, so any helpful information is more than welcome. But without further ado, let's get into it. Before I dive into any of the rotations, I just want to clarify that this is stuff that has worked for me. This is not optimal rotations, this is not perfect number crunching, anything along those lines. This isn't the top recommended thing on PVME either. This is what I have learned through trial and error, as well as using PVME as a reference, as well as some of my friends for reference. So there's going to be errors, there's going to be imperfections, but the results of these rotations has gotten me plenty of good kill times, plenty of boss kills, plenty of good drops, which I think is the goal of a lot of RuneScape players. So I've had a lot of questions on my rotation, so I just wanted to cover it in this video. I'm going to break this down into a few different rotations. It might seem like a lot, but they all kind of build off of each other. This is also going to be for longbows only. This isn't going to be for crossbows or 2H crossbows like the ECB. This is going to be for like Noxious longbows, Decimation, SGB, maybe not Bow of the Last Guardian because that's more specific, but pretty much anything up to SGB this is going to cover. I'll be doing a rotation for just a basic Death Swiftness rotation, the Death Swiftness including the SGB camp, the Death Swiftness SGB camp with an ECB EOF, and then lastly I'm going to throw in an extra rotation for the Bik Arrow build that I do as well, that you may have seen on my care pack video. I'll provide a link to that video if you are interested as well. And it's also going to assume that you have Rheyo as well as Greater Dazing Shot unlocked. If you don't have those unlocked, then you can still learn quite a bit from this because ranged is more about ability prioritization as opposed to perfect ability order. There's just two more things that I want to mention before jumping into the actual rotations. This is going to be ammunition as well as canceling channeled abilities before their timer technically ends. When it comes to ammunition, I'm just going to be going over the God Arrows. The full arrows are pretty much the arrows that I camp a majority of the time if my target is either non-poisonable or if it is a short duration fight. They provide a flat 15% damage increase with a 10% reduction to accuracy, which most of the time is counteracted by your aura. Jazz arrows are pretty much good on anything that they are strong against, so you have Dragon Bane and Demon Bane. Wen arrows would be good for any bosses that you would lack accuracy against, which would be something like Nex or Virago. And lastly, Bik arrows are good for any poisonable targets that have a long duration fight. This would include hard mode care pack solos, Solak, as well as high enrage Arch Glacier. The next thing I wanted to mention before the rotations is canceling your channeled abilities early. This would be things like Snipe and Rapid Fire. You'll notice that whenever you use Snipe or Rapid Fire that you will fire off the ability and it will hit before the duration actually ends. The way that these work is when you are using these abilities, whenever they have 1 second left on their timer, you can use your next ability. It will still fire off the Snipe or the last hit of Rapid Fire, but it'll reduce the amount of ticks between Snipe or Rapid Fire and the following ability. So let's start off with the Death Swiftness rotation. I do want to mention that this is Greater Death Swiftness, so if you don't have Greater Death Swiftness unlocked, then use a Planted Feet switch. Planted Feet is a lot more accessible price-wise than the Greater Death Swiftness, so either one works, the rotation will virtually be the same because the duration is the same. I'm also going to be using Adrenaline Renewal Potions because you technically just need 87 Herb Lore to have the ability to make these because you can actually assist the Herb Lore level required to make the Adrenaline Renewal. So these are a lot more accessible than you think. You just need 87 to make the base Super Adrenaline Potion as the main ingredient for these. So 87 Herb Lore will get you those, so I'm going to include these in all the rotations because there's quite a few that we have to go through. Starting off with the basic Death Swiftness rotation, there's a lot of actions right up front, but I'm going to essentially Death Swiftness, Target Cycle, Vuln Bomb, and Adrenaline Potion all in a quick succession. So I'm going to start off now with Greater Death Swiftness, Target Cycle, Vuln Bomb, Adrenaline Renewal. Then I Rheyo, Greater Dazing Shot, Snapshot, and then Rapid Fire. And then once this hits 1, I'm going to cue a Snipe, and then I'm going to do Rheyo, and then I'm going to do Shadow Tendrils, Greater Dazing Shot, Corruption Shot, and then I'm going to do Dead Shot. Snipe, Rheyo, Greater Dazing Shot, Filler ability, and then I will Snapshot, Greater Dazing Shot, Snipe, and then I'll finish with Rapid Fire. Quick note about that rotation is that Rapid Fire should be able to be used in ability earlier if you are using perked out gear with the Impatient perk, or if you have the Fury of the Small relic power equipped. I was only 3 adrenaline short, so I had to use an extra ability at the end, which caused me to use my Rapid Fire with 2 seconds left of Death Swiftness. Ideally, if you could get this in ability earlier, you would get your full second Rapid Fire duration within your Death Swiftness. Now we're going to move into the Death Swiftness rotation with an SGB added. The prior rotation can be used if you're using a Decimation, a Noxious Longbow, whatever longbow prior to the Seren Godbow, but now we are at the Seren Godbow camp rotation. So this is going to be virtually the same. The only difference is that we are going to be incorporating an SGB spec right after our Rapid Fire to put it on cooldown as soon as possible, because if we can, we want to use multiple SGB specs within our Death Swiftness rotation. A quick note is that this is only really viable on bosses with a 5x5 hitbox. If it is a 3x3 hitbox, just use it once, and if it's a single tile target, don't use your SGB at all. The reason why is the SGB will fire the special attack Crystal Rain, which puts multiple arrow hits within a 5x5 radius. So if your boss takes up that 5x5 radius, then all 5 of the arrows will hit. The smaller the boss, the less likely all those arrows will hit. So chances are if it's a single tile sized boss, then only 1 arrow will hit. So we're going to start this off the same way with a Death Swiftness, Target Cycle, Vuln Bomb, Adrenaline Pot, and we're going to build up our Adrenaline to get to Snapshot and Rapid Fire to also SGB spec following that. So Greater Death Swiftness, Target Cycle, Vuln Bomb, Adrenaline Renewal, Rheyo, Greater Dazing Shot, Snapshot, Rapid Fire, and then even though we're below 50%, we're going to SGB spec, and then we're going to build with basics. And then I'm going to go into a Tendril, build with basics again. And then we're going to Snapshot, basic, basic, and Rapid Fire. Next, let's move into the ECB EOF rotation. So for this, I just want to mention that I am using the Ring of Vigor passive as well as the Conservation of Energy relic power, so that makes my ultimate cost 80% adrenaline as opposed to 100%. So after Greater Death Swiftness, I am starting at 20% adrenaline as opposed to 0, which is very, very helpful. I'm also going to omit the SGB from this rotation because we already went over what determines whether or not we use the SGB spec, and I just want to showcase the ECB here. So my opener is going to look a little bit different. I'm going to start with Greater Death Swiftness, then Corruption Shot, then I will ECB spec Vuln Bomb, and continue to build up to my thresholds. Make sure I'm camping Soul Split. I'm going to Greater Death Swiftness, Target Cycle, Vuln Bomb, Adrenaline Renewal, Corruption Shot, ECB spec, and then build with basics back up to my thresholds. Snapshot, basic, Rapid Fire, and then I'm going to refresh my ECB spec. And I'm going to be using my multi-hits as much as I possibly can within my basics. Filler, then I will Snapshot, Rheyo, and then I will finish with Rapid Fire. And the last rotation mention of this video is the Bik Arrow Poison build. As I mentioned earlier, I will provide a link to the care pack video that I posted a little while ago where I showcase this build and how to do hard mode care pack solos with it. But ideally, the whole point of this build is to spam as much of your multi-hit abilities as possible so you can proc poison as often as possible. Things that you will need for this are Cinderbane Gauntlets, Bik Arrows, Weapon Poison, Vamp Prism Aura, as well as the Blood Reaver Familiar and Soul Split. The Blood Reaver Familiar will attack your target for every single time that you heal. So whenever you damage the target with an ability, you will heal from Soul Split as well as your Vamp Prism Aura. So your Blood Reaver will attack 2 times per hit on your target. So if I use Snipe, it will do the damage from Snipe and 2 more procs of damage from the Blood Reaver Familiar. That will give you 3 chances to proc poison from your Cinderbane Gauntlets. This has a lot of synergy with the Bik arrows because every single time that you hit your target with an ability, you will give a stack of evolving toxin on your target, which increases poison damage on your target by 2% per stack. And this can stack up to 200 times. Now, just to clarify, it does not stack multiple times when you use bleed abilities, but it will stack multiple times if you use Rapid Fire or Gricko. Gricko will apply 7 stacks because it hits 7 times, and Rapid Fire will apply 8 stacks because it hits 8 times. These two are your highest priority abilities within this rotation. So getting down to the rotation, it's not so much about using your typical hardest hitting abilities, but it is more so about using your multi-hit abilities. Even though your bleeds do not stack multiple stacks of evolving toxin, each hit does count for 3 chances to proc poison. It is also good to treat your greater dazing shot as another bleed because it does have the bleed effect puncture every single time that you use it. The actual damage from puncture is not necessarily high priority, it is just the fact that it is proccing more hits onto your target. So essentially what you're going to do is greater death swiftness, target cycle, vuln bomb, adrenaline potion, Rheyo. Put your bleeds on your target, snapshot, more bleeds on the target, and rapid fire. Right after rapid fire is done, I'm going to be going back right into a Gricko, greater dazing shot, and then dead shot. Go into my bleeds. Right back into snapshots. Right back into rapid fire. As you can see, I'm just spamming all of my multi-hit abilities right off cooldown essentially. And that's really all there is to this build. This build is very good at care pack because of the warp time ability, so it will allow you to essentially do your whole entire burst rotation at the beginning of every single phase because of warp time. So it'll allow you to start off with a death swiftness rotation. And that's all I have for you today, guys. I really hope that this video could help you understand your range damage, where it's coming from, as well as how to build a rotation for the bosses that you're doing. If you have any questions or any pointers, corrections, anything of that sort, definitely drop a comment down below because as I mentioned earlier in this video, I am still learning myself. So I could use advice, and the target audience of this video is people who are looking for input on ranged rotation. So if you have helpful information, don't hesitate to share it down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend if you have a friend that is getting into ranged as well. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this, and if you want to see this rotation in action, I have a series called Reckless Ranger on my channel. If you want to find the playlist link, you can do so in the video description. And I've also done this for Melee as well, so you can find the playlist link for that in the video description. Lastly, you can follow me over on Twitch if you want to see any of this content live, and definitely join the Discord channel where you can discuss RuneScape with like-minded players as well as get notifications of my new videos and live streams. Anyways, guys, that's all for me. I'm Rheyo, and I'll see you next time. Take care.